Another wonderful day, another fine day, and we get together and have conversations. We get together and we talk. Have conversations in the community that is actually taking us to a place that is far more better than where we used to be. I'm liking the conversations. I'm liking us hanging out every now and then, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just to talk about these things. Things that to some might seem not that important, but if you go look at the pain some of these things is causing, the disorder, and some people even feel like it's just about today. No, it's not about today. 10, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years from now, somebody will jump on this example and then do their own stupid thing in our community. My guys, welcome to Toridi. Sami.
Bonsoir again. Bonsoir Innocent. Bonsoir. So, c'est toujours un plaisir d'être là. Bonsoir à tous nos téléspectateurs.
Innocent.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Hello everyone. Hello to my co-panelist. Hello to Sami Boston. Hello to Nasako. And then hello to everyone watching us today. We come together again to have this conversation. And today we're going to have the conversation about all those crazy things that has been happening in our community, especially in Cameroon. All these social... I don't know how we're going to even qualify it, or this atrocity we are witnessing this time around. I don't know. You guys in the comment section, you're going to help us understand, because today is going to be a conversation, a very open conversation where you guys can even help us understand, because we are completely lost on this matter. But as a community, as brother and sister, we have to talk about it. Maybe someone will listen and come out and come clean, or maybe someone will listen and give a clear advice, or even advise us for us to understand exactly what's been happening to our community.
I want us to start with something that is a little bit. Si on était dans l'émission, il y a une émission là où je ne sais pas quelle télé au Cameroun, mais they're always shouting, they're always arguing, and these are doctors, these are professors. I think there's one Bayebeck and there's one
Vision
other
Card.
Vision Card. Which other guy is usually there?
Professor Owonangini.
Owonangini,
and
and
we have
so
the man with the Bible.
Okay, so let's say
Elimbi Lobe.
Elimbi Lobe. Sami, d'après toi, well, if he was part of that segment, would he be Elimbi Lobe, Bayebeck, or who do you think Innocent would be?
I think it should be like Professor Owonangini.
And then me.
Bayebeck.
Innocent, you. What do you think Sami would have been?
I think it would be like Elimbi Lobe.
And me.
Professor Bayebeck, of course, you like to fight Sami. Sami is perfectly right. But guys, it's not a laughing matter we're going to talk about today, but we're just trying to make this studio relax a little bit, and then we have this conversation.
But by the way, what do you think about them, especially their session, especially like Bayebeck?
I mean, Bayebeck, for me, he's a genuine guy. Mm-hmm. He's a person that doesn't hold back his feelings. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that he doesn't control his emotion. He does control his emotions, but he's a very, very powerful how do I say? He's very intelligent as far as communication is concerned. Mm-hmm. He knows when to draw the public attention towards him, and whenever you want to make a point. And he's also a person with a very strong personality that doesn't accept any shenanigan from nobody. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of person it is. Owonangini, we all know that the guy is like a Bible. He's a professor, so well-educated, well-known man, and is very knowledgeable on most topic politically. He's an expert on politics and in law and all other things. So, and then Elimbi Lobe is a very wise. He speaks with a lot of wisdom, and he draw most of his insight from the Bible. So yeah, definitely, I like it. I mean, we need a little bit of everything to make a world whole.
I think, and that's what most people are saying. God was not stupid to make sure that all these fingers are not the same, and some persons are tall, some persons are short, some persons are thick, some persons are slim, some persons are fat. It's like that, so we come together always and just try to complement. Sami, d'après toi, Do you think that should be the way forward of media or journalism dans notre communauté, où quand tu es sur le plateau, il faut être sûr de toi, il faut être opinionated, even means, même si c'est pour bagarrer?
Non, je pense que quand on vient sur le plateau, c'est pour éduquer. C'est pour dire ce qui est censé. Comme Innocent disait, nous avons des professeurs, nous avons des gens qui sont là, qui ont fait des grosses études au Cameroun, qui sont sur les plateaux et se retrouvent en train de se chamailler par moments parce qu'ils n'ont pas des idées, ils ont des idées divergentes. Et je pense que les idées divergentes, c'est ça qui fait la beauté d'un plateau. Mais pas parce qu'on doit bagarrer ou bien quoi que ce soit. Il ne faut pas être trop intelligent pour être sur un plateau. Il faut être celui qui peut apporter des faits ou bien qui peut apporter une solution, qui peut dire quelque chose qui peut aider celui qui écoute ou bien celui qui vous regarde à la télé. Donc, c'est un peu ce que je pense. Donc, il ne faut pas être professeur Baïbek, il ne faut pas être professeur Guigné, ou bien il ne faut pas être Elimbi Lobin, ou il ne faut pas être tout genre de professeur, ou bien un grand avocat, comme je vois souvent dans les chaînes de télévision, mais il faut être quelqu'un qui peut venir dire ce qui est censé, les faits qui peuvent aider ceux qui nous regardent. C'est un peu ce que je pense.
Okay, let's go ahead and share the video. But while we're sharing the video, Innocent, I wanted to ask you, so many crazy things happening in our community. We saw the situation of the young kid that lost their life just like that, and then we saw another person who the funny thing is, for so many years he's been showing signs of someone that can do something like that, yet we ignore, and then today he comes out publicly and say, this is what I have done. And besides that, we see other instances, marital issues, relationship issues going south to the extent that someone is losing their life. So many horrible things just happening. What do you think is the problem?
This is a very deep question, my brother. I can't really tell you what is happening. I don't know. I want to try to be conspirationist a little bit and say this. Maybe because of the election, because we are in an electoral year, those people up there, they need a certain amount of bloodshed. All right. I'll just throw it out like that. And maybe it's because the society is becoming more and more intolerant. All right. We don't tolerate because we are losing our way. Remember when we were growing up, remember we were like a community. A kid was a kid of everybody. We said it here every time. The kid was a kid of everybody. So you could have been a kid and the neighbor is going to correct you if you do something wrong, and your parent doesn't find nothing wrong with that. So a kid was a treasure to be protected by everybody in the community. But nowadays, we've lost our way. We try to be like the Western, or what we see in the television. We're trying to copy the Western pattern, but man, it's not working for us, because we can be following. Let me just say it this way: we cannot take Android system and put in a Apple phone and it works. What I'm trying to say is that we cannot take a Western culture and bring it to the African environment and it works. It's two different environment and two different systems has to work. So now that we started copying what is happening in the Western world and try to bring it in all in the name of globalization and in the name of democracy. So
civilization.
Civilization. This is how our society is getting messed up. Because right now you can't understand why a grown man, a grandfather of 60-something years would take a knife on a 6-year kid. How can we qualify that? How can we reasonably talk about it? How can you even conceive it in your brain? A kid that has nothing to do with you, that
doesn't know anything.
Daddy. How can you find a suitable explanation to this kind of action? I don't think we can. And we are seeing that there's a lot of bloodshed in our community. You see, now there are a lot of what we call in French feminicide, killing of women. So you get mad of your wife, you beat her up until she dies. What kind of anger is that we cannot control?
Samy, d'après toi, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Tout ce qu'on est en train de voir, il y a ce que Mathis, l'enfant, le petit Mathis a subi. Il y a les deux sœurs. On me dit même qu'il y a l'autre qui est venu défendre les pères. C'est même le père c'est même pas le gars du quartier qui ont annoncé qu'il est en train de faire ça. Non, c'est lui-même qui vient. Lui, il dit que voilà ce que je suis en train de faire et blablabla. Bla, 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 bla. En dehors de ça, on voit les mariages ou les relations qui ne sont pas bien, qui a un peu de difficulté d'après moi, mais quelqu'un finit par perdre sa vie. Il y a l'utilisation de drogue et des trucs comme ça. Là. Il paraît que notre communauté est en train de is deteriorating. Qu'est-ce qui se passe d'après toi?
Yeah, je pense que quand on a un gouvernement qui ne met pas tout en place pour l'éducation des jeunes, je pense que c'est des choses comme ça qui vont arriver parce que quand je dis que le gouvernement, ça veut dire qu'on regarde un peu la différence. Ça ne veut pas dire que c'est la même chose. On regarde un peu ici. Quand un enfant naît, il y a ce qu'on appelle à l'école l'éducation civique, les trucs qu'on commence à t'apprendre depuis que tu... Maintenant, si tu mets stop, ça veut dire que tu mets stop toi-même. Donc, et je pense qu'il y a tout, il y a les cadres propices. On a une culture. Les Africains ont leur culture. On a une culture, quand on grandissait, on avait cette culture-là qu'on savait que quand on voit même pour voir même un tonton fumer, quand tu le voyais fumer, tu devais aller te mettre très loin même, à distance. Aujourd'hui, les enfants s'asseyent avec leur grand frère pour fumer. Et ces grands frères les laissent fumer. Ça veut dire qu'en fait, il y a quelque chose qui ne va pas. Il y a un problème d'éducation qui ne va pas. Un problème d'éducation qui est parti. Tu dis à un enfant, va me prendre, il te dit que paye-moi. Tu me payes combien? À l'époque, il n'y avait pas ça. Quand on t'envoyait même seulement, tu courais.
On t'a giflé même.
On t'a même déjà giflé. Donc, en fait, il y a un problème, il y a un réel problème d'éducation qui a foutu le camp au Cameroun. Réel problème d'éducation. Il y a un réel problème de civilisation. Parce qu'on est entré dans l'arrivée des multiples chaînes de télévision avec les multiples scènes qui se passent dans les chaînes de télévision. On trouve aujourd'hui que notre culture même a été bannie. Quand tu dis aujourd'hui à un enfant, oh, il faut faire la culture, il faut aller danser, par exemple, je ne sais pas comment chez vous on appelle, chez nous, il y a ce qu'on appelle le kunga, que les parents donnaient à leurs enfants chez les Bamileke. Tu vas trouver qu'il y a des enfants qui ne connaissent même pas ce que ça signifie. Ils ne savent même pas ce que ça signifie, ils ne savent même plus ce que c'est que leur culture. Et aujourd'hui, quand on arrive même ici chez nous, regardez nos enfants même qu'on a ici, ils parlent juste l'anglais. Il y a des enfants qui ne savent même plus parler le pidgin, qui ne savent même pas parler nos langues du village, qui ne savent pas même le français, qui ne savent plus parler parce qu'on est arrivé ici, on a embrassé la culture et on a oublié même qu'il faut qu'on éduque aussi nos enfants avec notre culture parce que quand ils embrassent la culture d'ici, ils sont irrécupérables. Donc, c'est un peu ça qui arrive au Cameroun parce que la mentalité que nous, on rentre avec, on commence à dire que non, chez nous, on ne fait pas ceci, en Europe, on ne fait plus ceci, on ne fait pas cela. Les enfants copient. Tu vas voir une fille qui arrive au pays, elle a les mèches, elle s'assoit devant ses parents, elle a la cigarette. Tu ne pouvais pas voir ça avant parce qu'elle a copié la culture d'ici, elle rentre avec. Et les autres petites filles qui sont en train de voir, trouvent ça normal. Trouvent ça normal. Tu vois même aujourd'hui sur Facebook, une personne qui peut se mettre sur Facebook dire que oui, je vends le piment, je fais ceci, ça me donne l'argent, je construis les immeubles. Et les gens trouvent ça normal. Et les petites filles du pays sont aussi en train de copier. C'est comme ça que tu vas trouver la même chose partout. Et tu vas te retrouver aujourd'hui, même les papas qui se trouvent, quand tu regardes, tu vois que l'enfant, le jeune qui regarde un papa qui a pris le couteau, c'est un enfant de 6 ans. Quand lui voit ça, il trouve que c'est normal puisque le papa, lui, il était resté là au moins 3 semaines avant qu'on l'envoie en prison. Il n'y a aucun truc parce que normalement, ça c'est une peine. Je ne veux pas dire que ça c'est moi. Normalement, pour moi, ça c'est une peine de mort. Un enfant de 6 ans qui a encore tout un avenir devant lui. Pourquoi ne pas aller bras à bras avec ton frère? Vous finissez par vous rentrer. On avait les endroits où il y avait les scènes où on bagarrait, où on se faisait les problèmes avec ton ami. Un grand frère du quartier vient, il vous laisse ça, vous bagarrer, après vous appelle, vous asseyez, vous mangez dans le même plat. La bagarre est finie. C'est qu'à l'époque, il y avait le réel amour. Il y avait le réel amour. Aujourd'hui, c'est qu'il n'y a plus. Il n'y a plus cet amour-là. Tu ne peux plus aller, tu ne peux plus être l'enfant du voisin. L'enfant du voisin ne peut plus être ton enfant. Parce que tout le monde a peur. Quand tu vas te lever, on va dire que oh, peut-être il est dans la sorcellerie, il est ceci. On accusait tout le monde de sorcier. Aujourd'hui, on accuse tout le monde de sorcier. Je ne comprends pas cet avènement de la civilisation qui arrive au Cameroun aujourd'hui ou bien en Afrique. Mais je pense qu'on a un réel problème, comme je vous le dis encore, je vais répéter, on a un réel problème d'éducation. Tu vas voir même les mariages aujourd'hui. Quand tu avais un problème avec ta femme, les deux belles familles se réunissaient pour arranger le problème. Aujourd'hui, c'est que non, chacun prend un côté. Chacun supporte son côté. Puis encore, si c'est la femme qui a l'argent, ou bien c'est l'homme qui a l'argent que l'autre, ça devient un problème. Et donc, il faut maintenant que nous, en tant qu'éducateurs, parce que quand on arrive déjà sur les chaînes de télévision comme ça, on est presque comme les éducateurs. Il faut qu'on apprenne aussi à dire la vérité aux gens. Que ce qui se passe au Cameroun aujourd'hui, ou bien ce qui se passe en Afrique en général, n'est pas la civilisation, dans proprement dit, mais c'est la perdition de nos cultures. La perdition de nos cultures. Donc, il faut qu'on travaille encore et encore sur nos cultures parce qu'on a perdu le sens de la culture. On a perdu tout ça. Et je pense qu'avec l'aide de Dieu et nos ancêtres, ceux qui sont en train de comprendre aujourd'hui, qui peuvent penser qu'on peut régulariser notre culture, on peut remettre notre culture au centre du monde, je pense qu'on pourrait changer la mentalité des Africains.
Il y a souvent les Africains, nous on aime souvent, we always like to talk about our ancestors and our this and our that. Sometimes I want to believe about our ancestors and what they can do, but when I sit and I remember that our ancestors were there, when these people from here came and were collecting our brothers and their sisters and their moms and dad, I start to wonder, like, maybe these ancestors, sometimes they also are complicit. By the way, you were sounding like avant, c'était mieux, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, je pense qu'avant, c'était mieux.
Ah, mais il y a un populaire artiste, Richard Bona, qui a dit, il y avait quoi avant? Ça veut dire qu'il n'y avait rien avant. No, I think he was making
fun.
He was making fun of those who wanted to say there was nothing in the past.
Before.
No, but that's true though. We had something, whether we like it or not, we had something. There was that love, there was Africanism, there was that family-oriented mindset. Like you said, it was difficult for you to even get into a fight with your neighbor and your mom come and takes your side. No, they beat the two of you before they even asked what happened.
Yep.
You understand? So it was more of a community way of living, of surviving. But for some reason, civilization and whatever, globalization, like he said, the coming of TV, like you said, social media, because that is what it's even worse. TV was even preferable back in the days. We had just CRTV.
Yeah.
They were not giving us the best, but they were at least giving us something that would just keep people a little bit controlled. You understand? Nowadays, who even care about CRTV? All the news we are getting, everything we are learning is from online. It's from Googling. It's from watching some guy in India telling you, oh, this is what you are supposed to be doing to get rich. And this is where you can get there. And then you see someone practicing stuff that is not even part of us. Innocent. Yeah. One of the concerns people had with this whole situation, which he mentioned, was the fact that after the Matisse incident happened, it took some while. And to an extent, it even seemed like it was when influencers and the population started protesting. That was when they decided, you know what, let's go arrest him. And this is not the first time. We've seen that in so many other instances where somebody does something really, really crazy, and then it takes a long time before they even get to start questioning him. What do you think would be the problem?
So, sometimes we see a problem. As human beings, we have emotions, you understand? And we want to see quick result. But now we live in a state of right, all right? And we have a justice system that will take time to do his own investigation, all right? To collect the facts. Because we are talking of what they said happened. But justice doesn't work that way. Justice will go around and investigate to collect the facts. Now then, when they have the facts gathered, now they can proceed. I believe this is what happened. But, killing a 6 years boy is so shocking that the population couldn't understand that the justice has to take some time to clear some blind spots.
Three weeks is more than some time.
Yeah, it is. But by the way, you know, they say administration in Cameroon is so slow. You understand? Everything in Cameroon, administration-wise, is kind of slow. So justice took the time he had to. He went a couple of times to the office of the prosecutor. They sent him back to the gendarmerie where he was held. So he was going there to see the prosecutor, going back for the purpose of these inquiries. Okay, and then now after they gather everything, they had all the information, even him saying that he remember going to his house, taking a knife, and went to this kid's house, and found them in the living room, but he doesn't remember what happened after that. Okay, in quote, it was a defense strategy. All right, so at least he remember that he had the weapon. Okay, we used to kill he remember that he was there, but he doesn't remember that. So that was enough now for the prosecutor to say that I have enough to send you in jail now while waiting for a clear trial. Okay, so that's how justice works. Is it fair? I will not say. Is it fair? I will not say. I don't think that it is. But since we live in a state of right, we want to do the right thing every time. So sometimes the right thing will take a little bit of time. Okay, and then you said something about the society that is. Talk less about this situation of the young Matisse. Okay, and what is even shocking me right now is that the daughter of that killer, all right, is out there now advertising her concert in Paris for the 7th of June. That means in 3 days time. She's advertising the concert that she's going to hold a concert. And I don't know. Though she has the right, I would say yes. But is it morally good? No. No. So that's why I'm saying that our community, our society is being destroyed. The TV, the channel, every channel we have, and most importantly, the social media that we allow our kids to be exposed on is totally destroying our foundation, the foundation of our society. You know, China created TikTok, but the same TikTok you have here and in Europe and in Africa is not the same TikTok they do have in China. Do you know why? Because they want to control. They want to have the control over what the kid watches. And what is in the China TikTok is purely educative, nothing extravagant, nothing like exhibition,
erotic or whatever.
Yeah, nothing erotic, no girl dancing naked or half naked on videos, nothing like that. They show them how to build cars, they show them how to build house, they show them how to build a computer, how phones are made. That's how the TikTok is made of. So if we don't grow, like we will take the example of Ibrahim Traore, which is doing something interesting. He banned everything that is, if you show your half nakedness on a social media, no matter what be the platform, they're gonna arrest you in Burkina Faso. This is where we are going, because we let everything in the name of globalization or in the name of human right. Do you know that back in the days we have more human right than now? Because there was no way you were gonna see a child being killed by a parent, a grandfather, back in the days without TV. So now you're talking about that the man that killed the child has a right, so we have to protect his right. You understand that? So we had more human. We should go back to the basics. We've been saying this here day in, day out. We should go back to our basics. I mean, the government or the government in place, they should ban all this video. They should control, like China does, control whatsoever is broadcasted on this social media. You should follow the line of education, because if we let this youth getting destroyed the way they are, because what is happening now is we're going to go to the connotation of where the youths are now more drug addict than anything else. You understand? And this is another topic we're going to talk about later on. So this is how this social media, this foreign civilization that we are trying to import in our society is messing up our community. You understand? So we have to go back to the basis. Education, go back to our education. That civic, you remember we've been talking here about the civic education. We have to bring that back in school. In school, we have to, and we have the means. We have the means. Our population of tomorrow is the youth of today or the kids of today. If we don't take care of them and give them proper training and proper education, what future do we portray for them? There's none. Maybe the country is even going to dissolve itself because we are growing up some dangerous gangster and all of that with no education, no sense of responsibility, and no sense of respect. They respect nothing. They talk to the teacher the way they want, and when the teacher wants to talk to them, they remove a knife somewhere, kill the teacher. That's where we are going now. We are talking about people beating the wife to death, and we have another topic which we are coming to. I'm just showing how destroyed the society is. That is saying that to save Cameroon or to save Africa, he has to be doing the thing with the kids. Where are we going? We have to ban all this social media. We have to ban all these foreign TV channels. We have a lot of TV channels now in Cameroon or in Africa that can propose program according to our society, according to our culture, and we grow people with the knowledge and the understanding of where they are and where they are going. So this is what I will say for now before we move on.
For me, at the end of the day, I don't even think it's the coming of social media and all of these things. At the end of the day, the same hot water that if it's hot, it boils egg, and you want to eat boiled eggs is the same water that will destroy some other stuff. It's about how we use them. All these things that are there, like you said, TikTok is in China, and they're using it differently. And when America saw that, they were using it to derail their kids, and they try to put some restrictions on it. I don't think there's anything we have in Africa or Cameroon that America doesn't have. They have it on another level. But guess what? They have a system in place that is controlling those stuff, is doing everything possible to make sure it's under control.
Yeah.
You understand? You go to a class of 60 kids, if the number of kids that will turn out to be delinquent or whatever in a class of 60 in America, it's probably going to be maybe 2 or 3. You understand? And these are the ones that the parents are really not even following up with them doing anything. They have a system in place where kids don't come to school, they call the parent. School is supposed to start 8, at 9 the kid is not there, they call the parent. Why is he not here? And this and that. So the parent knows that, okay, on this day he was not in school, on this day you start to follow up. Something happens to the kid, or the kid does some certain things, if they are still underage, you're responsible. You, the parents, you're responsible for it. So you do everything. So I feel like, in as much as sometimes I don't want us to blame the government or anything, at the end of the day, they've decided to be the leaders. They've decided to put themselves in position of, okay, we want to make this decision. We want to allow this come in. I feel like there should be strict controls on these things, because I cannot imagine for the case of the guy who decided to enjoy his kids. I was just doing my research today, and I saw something like a blog that they did about him like 8 years ago, where he was saying he has already done 8 years without having an intimate moment with a woman, and if he's going to have any intimate moment with a woman, it's going to be. He was saying some crazy things that were, if you really looked at what he was saying, he was just pointing to, that's probably what I'm going to do. You understand?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. And what did we do? And guess what? Even in our community today, we still have people like that who are showing signs of, I am sick. You understand? I am sick. You people need to do something about me. Hold me, take me to Santo Jano or whatever. And then, but guess what? We still allow them. They are roaming the streets. We still allow them. They are doing things. And sometimes we look at it and we say, I was going to play some guy's video, but at some point I just felt like, you know what? It might look like a personal attack on him. But if I show you that video, somebody who is above 45, and you look at the kind of way he's trying to brand himself, the kind of things he's trying to do for popularity or whatever, you start asking yourself, like, okay, what is happening? Take, for instance, No disrespect to Grand Barak and what's the other one's name? There's Grand Barak, there's Nyangono du Sud. And Nyangono is even maybe a little bit better. Grand Barak now is hip hop artist. Every now and then he's just switching. I feel like, in my opinion, the community we are coming from, there should be limits to certain things.
Yeah, of course.
You understand? A man like that, because whether we like it or not, there's a kid somewhere that is looking at him and enjoying the popularity that he's getting. And then before you know it, you start feeling like 5, 6, 7 years ago, we did not really have just comedians like that in our community.
Yeah.
No offense to them, nothing to them. You understand? But guess what? Today, how many do we have? Any person who wants to blow, that is the shortest route.
Exactly.
You just wear a dress and just make he, and that's it. You're popular, and then you start doing whatever thing you want to do.
And funny thing is that those people, they just get financing so easily to do that funny thing.
So that's the thing. I feel like we really need to have structures in place, leaders in place who understand where we are coming from and make rules based on where we are coming from. And now, if you are out of Cameroon, if you're not in Cameroon, that's on you. I cannot come to America and want to tell them how to live their life, how to manage their country. I cannot come over and start telling them, no, you have to dress up properly. No, they have their own laws here. I decided to come here. I will go by their rules. I'll go by their laws, and I'll do exactly what they want me to do.
Exactly.
You understand? But then when they go to our place also, we need to have something in place where they're supposed to respect every person that is there should live by those rules or laws or whatever. And that's the only that's the only time I usually have a problem with these people over here.
Yeah.
You cannot dictate to us what we do when we come here. You dictate to your people, you do everything, and then you want to dictate to us also how to live our life. Bro, we are not the same people.
It doesn't work.
We are 2 completely, or 3 or 5, 10 completely different persons. Make your laws here. Allow us to make our own laws here. Now, I know there are stuff that we have also in our laws that might be a little bit funny. Like this guy coming up to say, oh, this is spiritual, this is African. You start to ask yourself, like, okay, which Africa are we talking about? Yeah. Because guess what? The person over here will say, yeah, those are the type of things we are saying. Look at this grown-up man. He's saying, oh, it's an African thing for me to do this because it's spiritual. And I don't know whatever book they're reading. I don't really know. But the next question I was going to ask you, Sami, d'après toi, on a vu comment les choses, surtout avec le cas de Matisse, comment ça s'est passé, comment le gouvernement et les gens, ils ont retardé pour to arrest the guy. And that was what was even scary. Because what if during that time,
they had...
Comme lui savait déjà que, OK, c'est la fin pour moi. Mieux, je pars maintenant, finir avec tout le monde et tu vois.
But he was on custody though. He was in a gendarmerie or a custody.
So right after the issue, he was on...
He was custody.
Okay.
After they took him to the hospital, he got the treatment and have the bandage you saw in and all of that. He was sent to a custody in the gendarmerie. So he was leaving that custody to the prosecutor office every time the prosecutor needed him for any sort of question or any audition. Or like
by himself or with the gendarme? Probably with the gendarme.
With the gendarme. He was heavily guarded. So now the women on the quartier saying that this is taking too long. We want justice for this little kid because the population don't want to render justice on their own. We know how it's going to turn. It's going to turn the country into a no man's land. So when we entrust you with the justice system, please do it fast because you don't need more time because you already got the fact according to the population. But right now, like I said, we are in a state of right. So we have to let the justice do his thing the way on the proper channel, on the proper way. So that's why maybe it took a little bit of time, but it got the population really mad. You saw if you saw those video of mother dressing in black and then manifesting out of the gendarmerie post of gendarmerie where he was held in custody, where he was in custody, and then But at the end of the day, the justice did what they were supposed to do, and they sent him in a prison.
Sami, quel est maintenant? What are we supposed to do? What is the way forward?
Moi, je pense que déjà, je pense qu'il y a un problème au niveau de ce monsieur. Parce que je me rappelle une histoire, il y avait un monsieur qu'on avait arrêté. Et ça a tourné. tournait, on lui posait les questions, il ne répondait pas. Et après, directement, quelqu'un lui a demandé que, mais pourquoi tu ne réponds pas? Il dit que lui, il veut sauver sa famille. Donc, tu comprends que peut-être il y a souvent des gens comme ça qui sont là, ils travaillent même, c'est les envoyés même du gouvernement qui sont là dehors pour monter, descendre. Et j'ai eu même l'impression que le monsieur qui a tué l'enfant, là, ça tournait comme ça parce que tu ne travailles pas. Tu n'as jamais travaillé, mais tu as beaucoup d'argent. Tu montes, tu descends avec le gouvernement, tu as tué quelqu'un, ça fait 2 semaines, quelqu'un est mort, entre tes mains, ça fait 2 ou 3 semaines. Tu n'es pas inquiété, tu as fait des gaffes, tu n'es pas inquiété, tu n'es pas inquiété. Ça veut dire qu'il y a un réel problème, il y a quelque chose qui se cache derrière ça. Et c'est pour ça que les mamans se sont levées pour dire que, mais à ce niveau, ça veut dire qu'il y a un problème, il y a quelque chose qui se cache derrière cette histoire. Comment est-ce que quelqu'un qui s'est levé de lui-même pour aller dans une maison avec un couteau, on a l'arme du crime, on a trouvé le criminel sur le lieu, et on dit qu'on va encore faire des enquêtes. C'est pour faire quel genre d'enquête? Pourquoi est-ce que ne pas le garder et faire les enquêtes?
Mais c'est ce qu'on a fait, d'après ce qu'il dit.
Non, mais en cellule-là, ce n'est pas le garder. Il est en cellule, parce que quand on te dit que te garder, ça veut dire qu'il y a meurtre. Le meurtre te demande d'aller d'abord en prison.
That's not true.
Bon, ça, c'est ce que moi, je pense.
No, that's not true.
Non, ça, c'est ce que moi, je pense.
No, that's the reason. That's the reason why there's a difference between jail and prison, right?
La justice, c'est ceci. La justice, c'est présumé innocent jusqu'à ce qu'il y ait une sentence qui t'établit. Ils doivent te protéger.
Ils doivent te protéger, C'est pour ça qu'il y a ce qu'on appelle le mandat de dépôt.
Non, le mandat de dépôt vient après. On ne peut pas on peut te protéger même dans une résidence surveillée. Mais maintenant, s'il y a déjà les preuves qui abondent vers ta culpabilité, là maintenant, on fait le mandat de dépôt comme le procureur a fait.
Tu sais pourquoi l'enquête a pris une vitesse aussi?
Non, on sait qu'il y avait
Talk about something that you... No, we cannot even go to that extent, except you want to talk about what you really know. You understand? Because that is the thing. The challenge I'm having with our community right now is the fact that because it is this situation that we all really sympathize about, right? We just want them to break protocol and do whatever we want.
No.
Let me finish what I'm saying. That is what most people want. According to them, once it was that, oh, he killed this child. I'm not saying
that he didn't.
He didn't. You know, what I'm saying is, according to us, because we are angry and we are frustrated and you understand we are bitter, we feel like once it's him, they should just catch him and put him in prison. You understand? Whereas we have a system of laws. And if we are expecting that the president should respect our law and not change the constitution when he wants and all of that, then it should start also even with things like this. That's just what I'm saying.
Je comprends. Moi, je pense qu'on a peut-être, on parle presque de la même chose, mais on ne se comprend pas peut-être. Moi, je dis ceci. Je pense que pour ceux qui ont fait le droit peuvent encore bien expliquer ça, mais je pense déjà que quand on arrive dans une enquête, quand on fait une enquête, je pense qu'on arrive sur le lieu du crime. On trouve l'arme du crime. On trouve le criminel sur place. Oui, il y a eu justice populaire, il était blessé, il fallait l'amener à l'hôpital le soigner. Il faut faire les enquêtes. Mais déjà, il y a 1, 2, 3 morts qui sont sur lui, qui le poursuivent depuis. Il a fait 1 an de prison, ce monsieur. Déjà avant.
Ça, c'est
no, let him finish. Let me finish.
Non, je peux finir.
No, but you're saying il a fait, okay, it's not proving that he killed any person. So that is already wrong.
C'est que vous dites que it's not proven parce que j'ai parlé avec des personnes qui sont dans son quartier. Je vais finir. Non, je vais finir. J'ai parlé avec des personnes qui sont dans son quartier. On a presque fait 2 heures à 3 heures de TikTok et les gens venaient faire des témoignages que c'est un monsieur violent au quartier.
Oui, il peut être violent, mais ça ne veut pas dire
Go ahead, finish.
Non, déjà, quand c'est un monsieur violent au quartier et que même au quartier, il y avait des parents qui avaient peur que quand c'était un problème qui arrivait de cette maison, il y avait des gens qui avaient eu peur de parler. Et c'est même pour ça que même dans les témoignages, quand la télévision est venue, puisqu'il n'était pas encore là en prison, on ne sait pas si on va le relâcher ou pas, il y a des gens qui refusaient de parler à face ouvert. Donc, c'est pour dire qu'il y a un réel problème quelque part qu'il faut d'abord résoudre. Et ce problème, pour résoudre, même s'il fallait protéger ce monsieur, on ne devait pas le laisser. Parce qu'en cellule, ou bien en garde à vue, il peut être libéré un matin ou soir. Il ne va pas aller en prison. Mais déjà qu'il y a les faits que c'est lui, même si c'est qu'on doit l'amener, il y a le...
Mais il était à la gendarmerie.
Oui, il est en garde à vue. En gendarmerie, c'est la cellule, c'est la garde à vue.
C'est la même chose.
Oui, je ne refuse pas. Mais déjà, il y a une chose que moi je pensais qu'on pouvait
Just
faire.
tell us what you really wanted them to do. If you no, because you're going back and forth. Like if it was you that was the person that's making the decision, what did you want them to do to him?
Je le mets d'abord en prison. Je signe d'abord un mandat de dépôt pour lui.
C'est illégal.
Ok.
Pourquoi? Parce que quand je signe le mandat de dépôt et qu'il est en prison, là maintenant on peut faire les enquêtes. Parce que le mandat de dépôt ne veut pas dire qu'il est condamné. Il est encore.
C'est illégal.
Okay. So that is the problem we have in Cameroon, and that's what I was saying.
Exactly.
You understand? When it is Paul Biya, right? Who is saying, you know what, I feel like I need to go for 200 years.
Yes.
We are going to say, oh, you're en train de tremper sur la loi. No, if we already have laws, if we already have, let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. No. Let me finish. You charge to explain. Let me finish what I'm saying. If the law says if a crime is committed, the first thing that is done is we get, even in America, they take you to jail. They don't take you to prison. They take you to jail first of all, and then they speed up their investigation. If they have adequate facts, they take you in front of a court, and then that time they send you now to prison, and then they can continue the investigations. You understand? Even the guy who shot the United CEO or whatever, it was not like they just picked him up and they took him to no. They picked him up, they went to a trial, and then everything. Let me tell you something. In as much as I really hate what that man did, you understand, it doesn't change the fact that as Cameroonians, we must always ask what is the law, what is the procedure. You understand? If they are respecting the law,
that's what happens.
Then we go with the law.
Exactly.
Because there are other times when we will still want them to respect the law. You understand? So that même chose avec ce que quand tu es en train de faire maintenant. You understand? You understand the law, you understand everything about the law. You decide to not go for elections that you needed these people. And then all of a sudden now you are saying, oh, because I am Kamto, and now look at what he's doing. You go and stand in interpretation. Yeah, you go and stand in front of people and saying, oh, en Sénégal, avec quelques personnes qui ont coulé le sang. Si c'est, that is the thing. If it's the law, let us respect the law. I'm not saying, nobody is saying that what the guy did was right. You understand? Right now, for me, I even thought the guy was still at home. So for me, that was the scary part. Now hearing that, no, he was under the control of the gendarme. I feel like that was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Even when
tu sais que pour qu'on sache qu'il était à gendarmerie, c'était après que les mamans l'ont marché.
Non, on savait dès le départ.
Toi, tu savais, moi, je ne savais pas.
Tu ne prends pas de bonnes informations.
Moi, je ne savais pas.
This is what happened. When the people who try to do that public...
So wait, event. So now, let me just finish. Now you're contradicting yourself. You say you did not know that he was at the gendarmerie. But
je dis encore, je ne savais même pas. Quand j'ai même su qu'il était à gendarmerie, c'était quoi?
But you said earlier,
no,
let me finish. Let me finish. You said earlier that people were scared to speak because they did not know if they were going to send him to jail or not.
No, yes.
So, but then how did you...
Quand tu as la gendarmerie, moi je dis encore.
So you knew he was in the gendarmerie?
J'ai su qu'il était à la gendarmerie un peu après, quand Malox a commencé à bavarder.
But that was not when the mama went there. But you said that.
Yeah. Les mamans sont parties au lendemain après la vue de Malox. Et moi,
no, Malox started talking earlier.
Yeah.
No, Malox went there and met up the mama that was manifesting, and then he came back and make that.
No, but he said when Malox started talking.
Malox started talking.
It was even before the parents went there.
He started talking in Facebook, and the next day the mama started going there, and Malox goes there and saw it. He came and gave the news. But for me, I'm still thinking. Donc je continue à penser que être à la gendarmerie pour 3 semaines à 4 semaines, parce qu'il y a un nombre de temps de garde à vue. Je ne connais pas le nombre de temps de garde à vue au Cameroun, mais déjà 3 semaines, 1 mois étant à la gendarmerie, on n'est pas sûr qu'on va te déposer en prison parce que le gars déjà dit que il ne se rappelle de rien. Il ne connaît même pas ce qui s'est passé.
Okay.
Donc, pour moi, je pense que les 3 jours à 4 jours suffisaient pour le procureur de le mettre en garde à vue. D'abord, pour protéger les autres enfants, pour protéger les autres gens qui sont à
I don't know what you're talking about.
C'est ce que je pense.
I don't know what you're talking about, Gaddafi. At the end of the day, gendarmerie, police, prison, and everything, the most important thing is that they put you in a place, in a confined place where you are controlled.
You're controlled.
That was the most important thing. We have seen people who committed crazy stuff and they're under house arrest, but they're in jail. We have seen so many people who stole government money, but guess what? We are not going to protest that, oh, you cannot put him on house arrest.
He's there.
You understand?
He's under control.
At the end of the day, my point is, if the law says this is a procedure, you understand? If the law actually stipulated that if somebody commits something and is arrested on this and that, and the only number of time he's supposed to make in jail is 4 or 5 days, and then they kept him there for 1 week, then that's a problem. But if the law stipulates that keeping him there is good enough for them to do whatever investigation, or what about situation where, have we not seen situation where something happened and then the public misinformed the police and then they come and arrest you? Have you not seen story here where somebody has been in prison for 50 years and then they come out and say he did not commit a crime?
It happens.
So what about the Atango, the one the guy?
We'll get there.
No, let me.
Le gars qui couche avec ses enfants, qui a fait les enfants. Dès qu'on l'a arrêté, il a fait combien de jours en cellule? Il a fait 2 jours. Le même jour, il était en prison.
Il n'est même pas.
What are you talking about?
Il n'est même pas.
He's not. He's not.
Il n'est même pas encore en prison.
He's not.
Même pas encore.
And if you don't know, the wife is supposed to come and put a plant. Somebody is supposed to, before it will even be.
Let me come.
Go ahead.
We'll get there. Il n'est même pas encore en prison. So this is.
Bro, we have to understand these things. Trust me.
So Sammy, like I told you, we are as a population, as human being, we saw the situation. We our emotions
took over.
But you have to understand that the law has to be cold, all right, to deal with this, and we have a laid out procedure. And the law, what the law, we have a laid out procedure by the law that they have to follow, a certain canon that they have to follow to render this kind of justice. So when the police came on the scene and the population was they were beating him up, they took him there, they brought him into the hospital, all right? As they were giving him the treatment, he was guided by policemen, all right? He was guided by the policeman. So now, after 3 or 4 days of being in the hospital, when the doctor said, nah, he is well, you can take him where you want, they took him straight to the gendarmerie, into the custody, all right? And then from there, they were taking him to the prosecutor office every time, guided, and handcuffed, all right? And bring it back to the gendarmerie when the procurator or the prosecutor will say, okay, I'm done with him. I had what I needed for today. Bring it back into the custody. All right. And then that's how it was doing. It was not free at all. We might not like it. Maybe some people might say that it's slow, but nobody wants to put himself, especially prosecutor, that they definitely have some political ambition or they want to be promoted. All right. Nobody wants to take a risk to run this case in a light way, like let me just do what the people want and break the law. Why doing that? It is very delicate. So they follow the pattern. Now, when he himself came the day where he said, yeah, I remember now that I went to my home, house. I took the knife. I remember that I went to the house and I saw the kid, but I don't remember what after. When I came back to myself, I went in the hospital covered with blood. And then when now the prosecutor got this element, he said that this is enough for me by law to right now, like he said in French, a mandat de dépôt to send him to Konengi, which he did. They sent him straight to Konengi. All right. So we might not like maybe the speed of what we're doing, but at least justice is being rendered. That is the most important thing. Like you were saying, if we don't follow the law that we ourselves we gave to ourselves, all right, and then we just say, okay, whatever something happened, let's just do our justice normally based on our emotions and all of that. You understand? We are turning our country into a no man's land. We are not even
a chaotic.
It's not
place.
Even chaos. It's anomy. I'll call that anomy. We are way above chaos. So nothing is not under control. But now we have to keep that under control. So the case is now the man is in jail, facing, like, if you hear the news that I'm hearing, is having the good consequences of action over there. They're treating him well. They're giving me breakfast and you understand, breakfast in the morning. They gave him a lunch at the noon, and then in the evening they giving him a royal treatment. So they had to even change his house in the prison. So
Ashley Larent dit la loi stipule, ok, mais plusieurs personnes sont envoyées en prison sans même avoir été jugées et aucune loi n'est respectée. Mais la question était de savoir pourquoi, dans son cas, il a eu une différence ou un besoin subit de respecter la loi. And that is what we are saying. You can ask that question, I can ask that question, but at the end of the day, I feel like that is what I want Cameroon to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That is what I want Cameroon to be. If they have decided to start respecting the law, that is a good thing. Now, s'il y a un autre cas, they say, oh, maintenant, on va rentrer là où on ne respecte pas la loi. That is when me, I'll be like, okay, no, it is wrong. It is wrong. For me, if they want to respect the law, even if it's one time every 1,000 years, I will be okay with that. Because I feel like respecting the law is what will put us in a far more better place. I should not put so many crazy things have happened in Cameroon to so many crazy people. At one point in time, a policeman took my ID card and put it in his pocket and left. Guess what? And then another one came and asked me, where is your ID? I was like, but this man, you saw this man taking my ID and put it in front. Guess what? I had nothing to do. So I will not sit here and say, okay, because that guy did it and then tomorrow I become a policeman, I can also do it. No, we are looking for a country where the law is respected. If the law was now, if this guy doesn't go to prison, when we see that we have every evidence that, and it's not even about me, because at the end of the day, there's supposed to be state prosecutor also, and even the family has to have a lawyer. That is one thing you guys are ignoring. If the family doesn't have a lawyer representing them, in that case, this man can go scot-free. And then me and you will sit here, I will start saying, oh, blah, 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 blah. Je me rappelle quand on était petit, il y avait une situation comme ça à Kumba. Quelqu'un avait coupé la tête, on lui avait promis d'argent, quoi là. Il avait coupé la tête de quelqu'un. Et comme tu sais, chez nous, on sait que dès que tu fais ça, ça veut dire que tu as commis un crime, quoi là. La famille, ils ont resté tranquilles. On a amené la personne, on a amené en justice 2-3 ans après. On a juste entendu un jour qu'on lui a libéré, que la tête de son avocat dit que c'est pas, qu'on a menti sur son client, que la tête qu'on avait montrée là, c'est la tête d'un singe. Bon, c'était après 2 ans. Maintenant, il fallait que montrer que c'était la tête de votre famille. Alors que s'il y avait un avocat, il avait pris he would have taken all the evidence and the document and keep somewhere. So what we are just saying is we are just trying to educate our people on how our people should be cautious of how these things work. Don't just get emotional that, oh, because they have arrested him, he's going to go to jail. No. You still have to prove that this man actually committed a crime. He's already saying, sorry, I'll give you. No. He's already saying, oh, I remember I took the knife and blah, 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 blah. Bro, if he has a good lawyer and that lawyer can come there and prove that he got there with a knife, but he did not use the knife. Maybe it was a man who came and took the knife and killed his own child.
No, the strategy was to plead what we call in French, folie passagère.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Like, I was crazy, though, so I can't remember.
I'm just saying. Guess what? The lawyer can still prove that when he got there, he got into a fight with someone, and it was the person that took the knife and do whatever. If you guys don't have a good lawyer, that man will go scot-free, and they will continue to cry. Yeah, man, so it's just crazy.
You understand, the laws, maybe they are not right, but that's the test we have given ourselves, all right, to govern our society. You remember this situation where we were talking about the lady that got killed by the husband, and then he was sentenced 5 years prison, and then with 52,000 fine, all right, and people were shocked. How is somebody's life can cost 52,000 fine? But that's exactly, and then people was hitting on the judge, like, oh, she's corrupt, she probably took money and all of that. But based on our law, the judge did exactly what the law said should be applied in this case and in this case.
Yep.
You understand? So sometimes if we see that, no, this is not correct, This is where now we have to go to our people, our parliamentary that we have voted in, and tell them, say, hey, this law, we see that is unfair. So please,
you guys need to
in there
and tell them to change it.
Change it in your National Assembly and send it to the president for ratification and implementation. All right. So this is how it works. It's not like we're going to turn to every society where we render our own justice. We're turning to be an animal.
And that is that is a society we have. That is what we must discourage. We have a society where the policeman has a right to do whatever he wants to do at every situation. A local law, if you stop someone, if you have any good reason to ask them for the identification, guess what? You ask them for that. They are not even supposed to give it to their hand. They're supposed to hold their ID like that and show you. And you read and you verify. Mais est-ce que c'est ce qui se passe au Cameroun? C'est pas ce qui se passe. Mais maintenant, quand on commence à dire que no, because this case was really crazy, we should have skipped the law, bro. They will use that same principle to skip other things, and they'll continue to do the crazy things that they are doing.
And this case was also very political. Like, we have to understand in the time in which we found ourselves.
Let me ask you a question.
So we have to understand the time we are right now, you know. And Sammy was pointing out that why not even Sammy, I'm reading the comment. Why is this that we do the justice we do will send people that without judging them to prison, and then from there judging them or don't even judge them, but they're still in prison? What is that difference? The difference is the echo the people will give to your case. So now if you're facing an injustice and you keep it to you, and those people that are lawmakers don't feel the threat, all right, they might probably sit there in their closed door office, do some crazy things and send somebody out. And we know that happens in our community, and this is exactly what we are saying, that we don't want it to happen. We want everybody, because our law says that everybody is equal. All right, there is no super citizen, there is no lowercase citizen. Every citizen, they are equal in as far as law is concerned. So we want those lawmen to be treating the case the same way, with the same celerity, with the same seriousness they did with this case. All right. So sometimes it might take time, sometimes it might be faster, but we want the law to be applied and be respected.
Sammy, you have a question for him?
Ma question est, quel est le nombre de temps que peut faire un individu en garde à vue?
Can I answer that in French?
Yeah.
Okay. Samy, la loi dit ceci, ou alors le code pénal, c'est 48 heures renouvelables.
Combien de fois?
Tu as compris ce que j'ai dit? 48 heures renouvelables, j'ai précisé.
Non.
Merci. Et qui décide de renouveler la garde à vue? C'est le procureur. Ce que le gendarme peut faire, c'est qu'il a ses 48 heures. Maintenant, après 48 heures, il faut qu'il réfère le cas au procureur. Si le procureur prend le cas et dit que bon, je nécessite plus de temps, je renouvelle sa garde à vue. Comprends? Je crois qu'il peut renouveler même 1 ou 2 fois. Il renouvelle sa garde à vue. Mais ce cas-ci, c'est un cas spécial. Vous voyez un peu? C'est un cas spécial. Quand on est déjà, le monsieur est menacé de mort. Je vais te dire quelque chose, parce qu'il n'est pas forcément en cellule, parce qu'on veut le garder ou pour que la justice soit faite. On peut le garder en cellule pour protéger même sa vie. Vous comprenez? Donc, c'est un cas spécial.
Non, il faut qu'on lise la loi.
Le procureur peut décider
de
dire que non, gardons-le le temps d'avoir plus d'éléments.
You say you want to read the law?
Yeah.
Read the law.
Yeah, la loi du 27 juin 2005, le code de procédure pénale au Cameroun, loi numéro 2005/007 du 27 juillet 2005. Je passe.
Non, ne passe pas, read everything.
Portant au code pénal, portant code de procédure pénale. Livre 2, la constatation et de la poursuite des infractions de la police judiciaire et des autorités chargées des enquêtes de police judiciaire. Chapitre 2, enquête de police. Section 5, de garde à vue. Article 119. 1. Lorsqu'un officier de police judiciaire envisage une mesure de garde à vue à l'encontre du suspect il avertit expressément celui-ci de la suspicion qui pèse sur lui et l'invite à donner toute explication qu'il juge utile. B. Mention de ces formalités est faite au procès verbal. 2. Le délai 2A, plus 1A, 2A. Le délai de la garde à vue ne peut excéder 48 heures. Renouvelable une fois. Ça veut dire 6 jours. Sur autorisation écrite du procureur de la République, ce délai peut, à titre exceptionnel, être renouvelé 2 fois. Chaque prorogation doit être motivée de tout état de cause. L'audition d'un témoin ne peut seule justifier une prorogation de garde à vue, sauf cas de crime ou délit flagrant. La mesure de garde à vue ne peut être ordonnée les samedis, dimanches ou jours fériés. Toutefois, si elle a commencé un vendredi ou la veille d'un jour férié, elle peut être prorogée dans les conditions précises alinéa 2. Donc, ça veut dire que dans les crimes, parce qu'ils disent quand tu commets un crime,
n'interprète pas, laisse comme c'est là.
Voilà.
Mais tu vas interpréter, c'est ça.
Donc, 48 heures.
Renouvelable
2 fois. 48 heures, ça fait combien de jours?
2 jours.
But when I had to just explain what
renouvelable 2 fois, ça fait 4 jours. Donc, quelqu'un
renouvelable devrait faire 4 jours comment?
6 jours. Bon, ok, laissons. Allons même à 6 jours.
Les week-ends ne sont pas comptés. Les week-ends bien même ne sont pas comptés. C'est ce qu'on a dit.
Allons, non. Jusque là. Quelqu'un a fait 3 semaines, 21 jours.
Où?
En garde à vue, en cellule. C'est la garde à vue.
Première des choses, il a fait, je crois, 4 ou 5 jours à l'hôpital où il se faisait soigner. On est d'accord? D'accord. Maintenant, si tu veux compter maintenant tes gardes à vue, enlève les week-ends et les jours fériés.
Oui.
On est d'accord?
And that this thing happened probably around the 20th or something.
Exactly.
Il a fait 20 jours. Disons,
c'est toi qui comptes.
Wait, let me ask you a question.
La loi t'a encore dit que dans des conditions spéciales, le procureur peut
proroger, mais ça doit être motivé. Mais
il y a la
ici,
motivation.
So are you the one telling the procureur what is...
Il dit, sauf cas de crime. Donc, on ne peut pas proroger en cas de crime. Sauf cas de crime.
So
on peut justement plus proroger en cas de crime. C'est pour ça que je te dis.
Bro, at the end of the day, I don't even know what point you're trying to make. Because no, let me finish.
He was saying this like he spent more time in custody, right? So that means they broke the law. Why keeping him in custody? But as he was reading the same law, the same law told him that in case of crime, the procureur have this discretion of prorogating.
See, this is my point, Sammy.
And this is exactly what happened.
This is my point, right? If they are following the law, I don't have any problem.
That's the point.
That is my point. If they are following the law, because that is the only thing we have in Cameroon that is keeping us back. Where you go to make your ID card or your passport, and you have every document, yet someone is telling you, I will not do it until you give me money. You understand? For me, I look at that situation the same as this situation. If I am expecting that when I go to do my ID card, they should respect the law and do my ID card and I go, right? I should expect that if somebody does something, the law should be respected already. Now, you can go and say, okay, this procureur, why did he really take long in this case? Now, it's a completely different thing because guess what? Like you read in that text, he will say, I consider this and this and this. Remember, it's a situation where this man actually needed to come and say, yes, I went to my house, I took the knife, I went to his house, and I saw the kid, but I don't know what happened after that. I only saw myself. And then the procureur was like, oh, actually, now I can. That is to tell you that before that man said that, there probably was no witness that was coming out to say, I saw him do it. There probably was no witness that was coming out to say, I saw him do it and this, and that. Now, as in the law, you cannot do that. What if you say, oh, parce qu'il avait promis au gars là-bas, ça veut dire que c'est lui, and then you send him to prison 50 years later, and then the man come and then...
Disclaimer, guys, we are not defending
him. We are not
just saying that the law should be respected. If that was the case with him, that's why he took so many days before being transferred to the prison, and that the prosecutor was following the law. We are okay with that. We are not sitting here and saying that we are defending him. We are not.
What he did, I'm so bitter about that man.
What he did is unforgivable.
I'm so bitter about you guys don't even know, like
we can even say thank God for him that we are living in a country of law where we abide by the law. Imagine back in the days where there were no law, and then you do that to my kid, bro. I can't your kid. We do it. You see?
Yeah, and that is the other part.
That's why we want to grow past this thing and bring this. We go and give ourselves a test, some rules that we need to follow to live together.
See, people will not even understand why I'm so passionate about this and the fact that I want us to respect the law. In 2016, when the No So crisis started, it started off as nous les anglophones, on entendait des piétineux sur nos droits and blah 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 blah. That was what they used to excite anglophones. And then anglophones went to the street and blah 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 blah. Guess what? These same people that were saying, "Oh, they are trampling on your rights," they started trampling on other people's rights, on our rights. And then when I came out and I was like, "Hey, you guys cannot tell kids to not go to school because it is a fundamental right for everyone." They say, "Oh, that school, even the system is porous, it's not even happy." I said, but that was the same school you went to. And that was the same school that give you all this brain that you are realizing that, okay, this system is bad. Allow these kids to go to, they were like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, those people actually end up have done worse things than Pobia. So that's what I'm saying. We should not allow our emotions, right? Because I took your food and you just be like, okay, I will do this. No, we are in a country of law. The only thing we should be praying for now is, since they have taken it, they say it's law to do this, let us see how they're going to send him to jail and everything. That's why my appeal right now is for the family to not just relax. Don't just sit and say, oh, because he was arrested, that's the end of it. You will be shocked at the end. You have to go there and make sure you have a representative. Look for an NGO. If you don't have money, look for an NGO to get you some lawyer that will follow everything step by step. Do you even know there are situations where you get a lawyer, and if that person has the money, they pay a lawyer, they pay their lawyer and pay your own lawyer, and they go scot-free? How do you think law is broken in Cameroon? So, what I would like, Jesus Christ.
So, we're going to take this one as a bridge to transition to the next topic we have, which is also some cases that you guys in the comment section, please, you're going to help us to understand what is happening. So, we have this famous singer called Sandy Atango, who a couple of days ago posted on his Facebook platform that he's been spiritually highlighting and he wants to take Africa out of darkness, out of this obscurantism, all right? And then in such case, he had been having some relationship with his daughter, two of them actually, and the wife had fled the house, and then is the wife that went to the gendarmerie again and told the gendarme that this is what has been happening in my household, that's why I left the house, but I left my two daughters over there. Shockingly enough, the daughters came out and they were like, hey, whatsoever we did with our daddy, we were fully we gave him our consent. So there's no crime in that. And we make this case very tricky because we're going to talk about it in a point of our cultural values and in what the law says about it, because it's completely tricky. I'm saying tricky, but not to say it's completely mad, because as we are talking, the man can even walk free
and continue in his whatever.
By the law, he can walk free. But to our own cultural understanding, on our cultural and sociological reality, we cannot tolerate it. So how do we go about this case?
Let me ask Sammy, in this case now of this man, what do you think we should use to push judgment on the situation? Our cultural values or the law of the country?
We have to go about. On va partir toujours avec la loi. C'est la loi qui doit primer. Mais si la loi doit primer et que la loi dit que il faut une plainte pour qu'il soit en prison, il faut une plainte. Moi, je n'ai pas de problème à ce qu'on se... Parce que là, maintenant, je pense que notre culture, c'est vraiment... Dans notre culture, c'est vraiment un crime. C'est similaire à un crime.
C'est une abomination.
It's abomination, it's not a crime.
Le crime même, c'est une abomination. Le crime de
no, it's completely... Crime is when it concerns the law.
Oui. Yeah. Le crime même, c'est une abomination. Quand tu tues déjà ton semblable, c'est une abomination. Non seulement c'est un crime, mais c'est une abomination.
No, you know why you have to make a distinction. It is not all abomination that is crime.
Yep.
Yeah.
So crime is when we're talking about law.
No.
So you cannot just say le crime c'est une abomination. It means every abomination is a crime. No.
No.
That's why.
C'est pas ce que j'ai dit ceci. J'ai dit ceci, c'est une abomination. Et dans nos cultures, dans la culture africaine, la culture camerounaise, bantou, quand tu vas avec ta propre fille, pour nous, dans la culture, dans certaines cultures, dans d'autres cultures, je ne sais pas comment ça se passe. Mais maintenant,
Sami, that's why we're saying we have to make that distinction. Because it is culturally wrong doesn't mean it is a crime. A crime, when we talk about crime, we're talking about legal breaking the law.
Bien précisé.
Yeah.
Que selon la culture, c'est même comme un crime.
No, you cannot say même un crime.
C'est comme.
It is. It is a crime and it is an abomination.
C'est comme un crime et c'est une abomination. C'est ce que j'ai dit. Je n'ai pas dit que c'est un crime.
Non, tu dis selon la culture.
Selon la culture bantou, c'est comme un crime.
Okay.
Et c'est une abomination culturelle. Ça veut dire que comme un crime, ça ne veut pas dire que c'est un crime. Non, ce n'est pas ce que j'ai dit. Je n'ai pas dit que c'est un crime. J'ai dit que c'est comme.
That's why I don't even want you to say come and crime. I want you to distinguish.
Okay.
Let me explain, please. What I'm just trying to explain is, I prefer for you to say, by the Bantu culture, it is an abomination, and you end there. You understand? Or you say, by the Cameroonian laws, it is a crime. It will not be a fair thing for us to say, by the Bantu culture, it's like a crime. Because what you're doing is you're mixing two things that don't even want to mix. Because guess what? Even the Bantu culture that you're saying, right? The Bafo man is a Bantu man. The Bamileke man is a Bantu man, right? But they don't have the same culture. You know that?
I understand.
So that is what I'm saying. If we want to talk about abomination,
est-ce que chez les Bamileke, c'est faisable? Je dis non. Est-ce que dans nos villages, c'est faisable? Je dis non.
You cannot say no, you don't know the villages.
Okay.
That's why I say, yeah.
I don't know. So, but est-ce que chez moi, à Ombessa, c'est faisable? Je dis non.
Non. Yep.
Hein? Est-ce que chez moi, à Obala, dans le village de mon arrière-grand-mère, c'est faisable?
Non.
Je dis non.
Mais chez lui,
ça peut être fait, je ne sais pas.
That's the thing.
Je parle selon mon village, selon ma culture. Hein? C'est une abomination qui semble, parce que à l'époque, quand tu faisais même ça, on te mettait à la place publique.
Oui, on vous lavait, on vous fouettait.
On te fouettait à la place publique.
On vous demande de refaire pour qu'on vous délivre.
À la place publique. Et tu dois dépenser. Et c'est même ce que le chef qu'on a interviewé, que Equinox a interviewé, disait. Qu'on peut faire ça, on peut faire les cultures, les traditions sur quelqu'un qui faisait, il ne savait pas. Mais quand toi, tu ouvres ta bouche et que tu dis que c'est comme ça que toi, tu penses que ça doit être, que c'est normal, on ne peut pas te mettre dans la tradition, on ne peut pas te laver, on ne peut pas te nettoyer, on ne peut pas enlever cette abomination sur toi. Donc, c'est pour dire que pour que cela redevienne normal en culture traditionnelle, il faut passer par des rites de lavage.
That guy is from which village? Which tribe?
Il est dans le sud.
It's Ekan. Let's say Ekan.
Donc, tu dois passer par un lavage. Bon, maintenant, sur la loi, j'ai lu la loi là, avec, je pense, la loi 105, un truc comme ça, là, qui dit l'inceste est un délit. C'est un délit qui va de c'est 6 mois à 3 ans de prison avec 500 000 d'amende.
1 an à 3 ans de prison.
Bon, maintenant, l'inceste, il faut que ça soit sur ou c'est ta progéniture, ou c'est quoi. Ils ont précisé jusqu'à ce qu'ils ont dit.
Okay.
À la
Je
fin.
peux préciser un peu.
Oui.
So, let me go in French because I want to give it. So, l'inceste, selon la loi au Cameroun, est pénalisé. D'accord? Et la punition va de 1 an à 3 ans de prison. OK? Et comme il a dit, avec l'amende de 500 000. Bon, pour l'amende, je n'ai pas les chiffres. Mais l'inceste, c'est entre ascendant et descendant, c'est-à-dire parents, enfants. OK? Maintenant, pour que la loi du Cameroun accepte qu'il y ait inceste et juste à ce qu'on te condamne, il faut qu'il y ait dans la plainte d'un parent. Maintenant, ce qui est dérangeant dans le cas-ci, c'est que les enfants disent qu'eux, il n'y a pas eu d'inceste. Ils ont été consentants. C'est quelque chose qu'ils ont bien mûri, ils ont réfléchi, ils ont compris et que c'est réel. Maintenant, entre l'ascendant, qui est le parent, et le descendant, qui est l'enfant, qui va donc porter plainte?
And that is the same.
Et sans la plainte, la justice
nothing cannot do anything.
Donc, actuellement, là où on est à ce niveau-là où on attend une plainte. Si on n'a pas la plainte dans les 2 jours qui viennent, et les enfants qui ont fait des sorties, je pense que tu as vu les sorties sur les plateformes télévisées,
les plateformes social media,
en disant qu'ils ne voient rien de mal en ça. Elle va aller porter plainte?
Non.
OK. Maintenant, la justice dit que sans plainte, on le laisse rentrer chez lui. Et ça, c'est ce que la justice dit. Maintenant, nous, en tant que des hommes africains avec nos cultures et nos us, il va rentrer où? Dans quelle communauté? Puisque dans sa communauté, il a déjà apporté, il a amené l'opprobre, ce qu'on appelle la honte. He brought shame to the community.
Yeah.
All right? Donc, il va entrer où? Ça ouvre un autre pan. Est-ce que la justice va envoyer des éléments pour le protéger parce qu'il est en danger dans la communauté dans laquelle il est actuellement? Vous voyez? Ou, comme les autorités traditionnelles sont reconnues par nos lois, on va le bannir comme c'est ce qui est dans nos cultures. Quand tu fais ce genre d'abomination, on te bannit du village et il va partir. Donc, il y a c'est pour ça que j'ai dit que le cas était un peu ambigu. Donc, qui va porter la plainte? Je ne sais pas si la maman des enfants va déposer une plainte, mais les enfants ne sont plus mineurs. On parle de celle qui a accouché, on parle de 31 ans.
31 ans.
Donc, elle ne jouit plus de l'autorité parentale. Donc, c'est elle qui doit porter plainte. Donc, même si maman porte plainte, ça ne passe plus. Bon, peut-être que vous allez me dire que ça a commencé. Si les enfants maintenant disent que non, ça a commencé quand on avait 12 ans,
avec 13 ans.
Si les enfants disent que nous, on avait 25 ans, c'est-à-dire on était conscients, et que la maman dit 12 ans, c'est les enfants qui sont conscients qu'on va croire. Donc, c'est un cas, donc c'est un terrible précédent pour la justice camerounaise. Et je pense à partir de ce cas, il y a d'autres lois qu'on va devoir promulguer.
That is the reason why we're having this conversation.
Exactement, c'est pour ça qu'on a.
That's the reason why we're having this conversation is because it is not just about us talking and talking and talking. It's about the people understanding that this is a time for you to go register and choose your when Kamto is saying don't go and register for the municipal election, don't register for the parliamentary election, don't register for the senatorial election, knowing fully well that is the foundation of every country. You start to ask yourself, is this a person that really wants to become the president of Cameroon? Because these are the laws you're supposed to be changing. You understand? These are the laws. This is a time for these women went to the procureur, right? They went to the procureur for the last case. This other case, maybe another family women can go to the procureur again and say, oh, we want this. But if the procureur can't do anything, nothing.
No.
Instead, the way you're supposed to go is your senator, your parliamentarian. You have to go to them, say, hey, what kind of law is this? We are Africans. How can we have laws that are not considering our culture? Because that was supposed to be the law, right?
Exactly.
Based on the area where the jurisdiction where the thing happened, you don't only go by the law of the country, you go by, and most of the law of the country was put in place by who? The colonial masters
So
who did not consider our culture. You understand? So now we have to make that change.
Exactly.
Yes, this is what will happen, and this and that. But guess what? Every law has to go by the culture of that people in that jurisdiction. So even before you start to say, oh, the child has a right or whatever, what does the culture of those people see? Because at the end of the day, if that malediction exists, ça va nous rattraper. It's going to hold us, even though the law is saying that man should go scot-free and whatever.
Yeah, mais ça va nous rattraper, évidemment.
Il y a crime.
Il y a crime.
D'accord. Mais maintenant, même si voilà ce que la loi actuelle dit, même si on porte plainte, le maximum qu'il puisse faire en prison, c'est 3 ans.
Alors qu'il a enjoy pendant 10 ans.
Bon, je ne connais pas le nombre d'années.
Damn.
Mais le maximum qu'il peut faire en prison, selon la loi actuelle,
c'est 3 ans.
Après 3 ans, il sort, il va casser ses occupations. Donc, c'est pour ça qu'on a ce genre de conversation, pour que nos législateurs aussi nous écoutent, essayent un peu de regarder dans ce sens-là, de voir s'ils peuvent approfondir des lois, ou alors amender ces textes de loi-là pour peut-être durcir le ton au niveau de la pénalisation de ces actes-là. C'est pour ça qu'on a ces conversations. Donc, comme je vous ai dit dès le départ, c'est un sujet assez difficile, que ceux même qui nous écoutent là, s'ils peuvent nous dire quelque chose en commentaire pour qu'on essaie de comprendre où est-ce qu'on peut aller, où est-ce qu'on va. Mais maintenant, au niveau culturel, and let's look at now on the cultural part, we just look at in a legal way. So in the cultural part, what is it there that we can, or that they in the community, or let's just say it's a problem, it's a common matter, we can do to solve this kind of issue? How can we make it right? You know that they have a kid now, about a month old. The kid is going to grow. How is it going to be? How is
that my grandpa is my
pa, and then my mom is my elder sister. How can we go about this? Please, if you have any suggestions.
But before we even go to that, the only reason why this is a concern is because we are Africans.
Yeah.
There are other communities in the world. For them it is very okay.
No, it's normal. For them, it's normal.
Yeah. So the only reason why for us is, whoa, what is happening? This and that.
And they call it because pure blood.
Yeah.
They want to keep their blood pure.
Yeah. So, but if you let me play the devil's advocate. If we really go back to look at things, in the beginning it was Adam and Eve. Let's just say we want to follow their book.
Okay.
It was Adam and Eve, and they gave birth. If they gave birth to kids, it means the kids were siblings. So at the end of the day, how did the kids who were siblings, how did they continue the lineage? It's either that book did not tell us that there were some other people existing, or because if you look at even when we talk about our families, right? If you talk about families, they'll tell you that the two people that created this tribe, right, were this man and this man, which means they gave birth to kids, brothers and sisters. So how did they have the continuation? You understand? Trust me. I am not saying I am in support of whatever that man did or whatever.
Really
you understand? But if you want to really go into some basic asking questions and you start to realize that, man, this thing is crazy.
And the funny thing is, like, I heard someone in a TV show saying that incest do really exist in our culture, and he was defending it. So I don't want to be. He said that he doesn't want to be. I don't want to put that on me, please. I didn't say it. He said that. He doesn't want to be a hypocrite, but incest really exists in our culture. So there are some people advocating actually for it.
But even si ça existe, pourquoi est-ce que ça fait partie de la loi? Parce que je ne comprends pas comment quelqu'un de normal.
He was saying that it was kind of taboo for us to talk about it now, but this is the case that we open. That is presenting. They open the channel for people now to talk about it, and maybe for the legislator to consider something or to amend the law that is in place and all of that. Here we are. We're talking. We see where we go.
Ça n'existe pas. Et pourquoi ça fait partie du code pénal? Non, on a inscrit ça dans la loi. Peut-être, moi je me dis, peut-être il est en train de dire que des gens pratiquent ça. Il y a des gens qui pratiquent l'inceste, mais qui ne font pas le bruit parce que personne n'a encore parlé de ça. Mais dire ça comme il a dit à la télé, là, moi, je trouvais ça un peu à encourager ceux qui sont en train de le faire parce que notre culture nous l'interdit. Et la loi même nous l'interdit. Bon, la culture de chez moi, je ne veux pas dire pour chez toi. La culture de chez moi me l'interdit. Et la loi même camerounaise l'interdit, puisque si on a sorti cette loi, c'est pour interdire ce genre de pratique. Si quelqu'un se lève et se met à la télé, donc quelqu'un qui est censé nous éduquer, parce que je l'aime bien, je travaille avec lui. Quand je travaille à la Médoire 5e, je travaille à la 2e. Donc je l'aime bien.
I have questions for you.
C'est quelqu'un de très intelligent, quelqu'un qui a aidé même beaucoup d'enfants de Nobel à aller à l'école. Bon, je dis, c'est quelqu'un de... Bon, à ce point-là, lui et moi, on ne sera jamais d'accord.
Let me ask you my question.
Yes.
What's your father's name? One name of your father?
Ambassa.
What was one name of your grandfather?
Ambassa.
No, another name, not Ambassa.
Oh, no.
That's that one. You're just giving me your family name. So,
No.
I mean your father's name. I'm not talking about your father's family name.
No, my father's name is Ambassa.
Yeah, and his father's name.
Ambassa.
His father's name.
I don't know.
So you see that you don't even remember just two generations. But guess what? We have a culture that stems from about how many generations. So what I'm just trying to say, you understand? I am not endorsing what that man did.
We are not.
What I'm saying is, as Africans, right, let us also learn to be like, hey, what is happening? That is what America is good at. They will not just capture you and throw you in jail because you did something that the law says no. They want to interrogate you,
they want to
ask you questions upon questions, and dig into what if. I'm not saying what he said according to what I was taught. You understand? And remember, the law that came and said incest is a bad thing. It's not law that was put there by our chiefs and our forefathers and this and that. It is law that was put there by somebody who doesn't even understand us.
Our culture, yeah.
And remember, this man's point is that I am African. It is something purity or whatever.
Pure blood.
Based on what I have learned and everything, it is wrong. But is there a possibility for us to get down into really wanting to know? I just gave you a simple example. In the beginning, they say God created Adam. Adam was bored. He created Eve. And then they ate the apple, and then they gave birth to children. And then they say, we are the descendants of Adam and Eve. The simple question now is, how did the siblings continue to produce children if they were the only people that were produced on earth? It means they committed incest, or let them come and explain. You understand? The other question is, I don't know if the Bible is actually saying anything about incest, because I just realized now that I've never heard anything about that.
In the book of Leviticus, yeah, it talks about it a little bit.
But we had a situation where some man slept with his kids, right?
Yeah, it was.
I think
after it was the guy from Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
After they burned the city, he went there, and you remember the wife died
because she turned back.
And
he was left only with the kids.
With the kid,
and they needed to produce children.
I don't know if they needed to produce.
No, because the generation needed to continue.
He was drinking a lot and was getting drunk, and then the kid was taking advantage of it.
Oh.
The kid.
Oh. They blame it again on women. Just like they blame
that's your understanding.
Bro, life is so complicated. Yeah. Life is it's so complicated. That's why for me, I just feel like the simple things, we should just go with them. Our system is so messed up. We need to do a lot. Yeah, we need to do a lot, especially because the laws we are actually celebrating today, the laws we are holding so strong, the laws we are worshiping and whatever, were laws that were put in place by a group of persons who were trying everything possible to keep power.
Yeah, c'est pour ça que tu as dit que si quelqu'un n'a pas les députés, n'a pas les sénateurs, comment il va changer le pays? Parce que le pays, même ici, le pays marche. S'il faut changer la loi, il faut que ça passe par les députés et par les sénateurs. Et si quelqu'un se lève un matin et dit que je ne vais pas aux élections municipales, je ne vais pas aux élections législatives, il va pas conseiller municipal, mais il va être président.
Il va être président.
Tu vas être président avec lesquels députés? Comment est-ce que tu vas changer la loi avec les députés ou tu n'as pas les députés en nombre? C'est la question qu'il faut se poser. Donc, pour moi, je ne comprends pas dans quel pays nous sommes. Je ne comprends pas dans quoi nous sommes en train d'aller. Comme tu viens de dire, la loi, c'est la loi. On a beaucoup à faire. Il y a beaucoup à faire. Surtout que ça n'est pas seulement au Cameroun, c'est en toute l'Afrique centrale, toute l'Afrique francophone, parce que les anglophones, encore l'Afrique anglophone, encore même, est un peu mieux structurée que l'Afrique francophone. On a beaucoup à faire. On a beaucoup à faire. Et si quelqu'un veut dire qu'il veut sauver le pays, il commence d'abord à avoir le nombre évident à la députation, le nombre évident des sénateurs, le nombre évident des conseillers municipaux, le nombre évident.
Yeah, that was what I was wanting to. So he's saying Jews get married to their cousins.
Yeah. And they call it purity of blood.
Purity of blood. And guess what? These are the richest people on earth, right? These are the people who control
the world economy.
They are not even as many as.
Yeah.
So you start.
Yeah, though, because don't see Jews as Israelians, all right? Because they are Jews that are not Israelians.
No, I don't even know the difference, and I don't. For me, I'm just looking at from his point of view.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, but
I
get it. And
Jews. Yeah, the point I was even trying to make is there's a group of people who also, I don't know, some group of people in Asia, if I'm not mistaken, who can actually get married to cows and this and that.
You have it around here, people talking about what
okay. About? So, and that is where the complexity of all these things. Remember, even with our culture, who is the head of the thing? Is the chief, right? Just like with the Catholic Church, the guy who said that is a Catholic. And so the previous pope was saying, oh, it's okay for man and woman to blah, blah, blah. What is this one now saying? This one now is saying, I don't even want to hear that thing. So you see how even our cultures, our laws, our traditions and stuff like that can move from time to time based on the leader we have in place.
Black man, but say confusing.
And yeah, at this point in time, so we can even sit here and we are telling that part that, oh, you're not supposed to do that. Alors que c'est ce que his grandfather and great-grandfather were doing, and because guess what? It must be coming from somewhere.
Yeah, it came from somewhere.
It must be coming from somewhere. If you look at that man, it is not about today. I'm telling you that 8 years ago, they did a report about him where he said, I have already done 8 years without sleeping with a woman. Who does that? An adult, and then he was talking about some spiritual things. Oh, l'énergie que j'ai maintenant dans moi, quand je vais déposer sur quelque chose, voilà ce qui va se produire. That mindset.
So this is what I was saying. We were saying earlier that even our educational system has to be reshaped.
Yep.
Yeah, you understand? Because this is where our historian, okay, people that knows our history, that make the research back to in our culture, we bring the fact that hey, this is not coming from heaven. It's coming from this was happening back in the day, and like that, and this is how we grow and we shape our community based on our understanding and our culture, our historical or legacy. You understand? So right now we are in a carrefour where some people will say, yeah, it's normal. You raise some really good point. You know, most of the country or most people in the world now really want to reason according to the Bible. But if you go now look to the Bible, you're going to ask, after Adam and Eve, what happened?
Yeah.
They born Abel and Cain. All right. And then I think killed Abel, something like that.
So he was left alone.
It was left alone.
So how do we come?
You understand? So there's a lot of questions that we need to that raises up. But this is where we really want to come back, please. Our historian, do the research, okay, and publish some things that would enlighten us, that would even guide us, these parliamentary, these lawmakers, for them to really make law that embraces our cultural values and our cultural heritage, our legacy. So,
boss, this whole thing, oh, we are Bantu. And then you're looking at the next Bantu man, you guys are completely different. Like, okay, what happened? Is it like I'm Bantu upside down?
And most people even argue that Cameroonian, like you were saying, not all Cameroonian are Bantu. Not even all Cameroonian are semi-Bantu. Some people will even tell you that most people saying that Bamileke are semi-Bantu. Some historian will tell you that no, they are not semi-Bantu. They are coming from Egypt. They migrate from Egypt. The Bamileke people. So this kind of research, our historian has to go dig back to our history and bring forth so that we can be enlightened by it to generate the laws that really embraces our culture, our cultural
I think for me, the takeaway from this segment is that we have a law in place that probably did not consider anything about our cultures, who we are, our geographical whatever. A good reason why you see an SDO feel like he can decide who can be the next chief of a village, and things like that. If possible, they need to review all these things. I don't know what our people can do to push the government to understand that, hey, if you're going to make laws on how whatever is happening in a particular community, you must consider that these people, they don't eat pig, they don't do like this, they don't dress like this. Because guess what? You can go to a village, the law of Cameroon says you are free to dress however you want to dress. Now you go to a village where they say on a particular Monday, you cannot dress like this because that's the Monday where they're supposed to cleanse the town.
And all of that.
You understand? I remember growing up, we as the Bafo of Kumba, there was this celebration that we did, I think once every 7 years, where I think for 1 week, places are supposed to close down at 6 p.m. till the next day. And then our traditionalists will go around the town, cleansing the town. They would make some perform some traditional rites. At some point in time, it was really difficult because strangers came in, and then maybe a stranger who had muscles and had whatever, when they say had money, when they say close the town, he will still continue and he's driving his car and whatever, things like that. So I really feel like, for me, that's my takeaway from this segment. The biggest challenge we're having right now is laws that sometimes apply and don't apply.
Yeah.
We are just begging for the laws to apply across the board.
Yeah, exactly.
The second challenge is, because we have 2 other topics that we needed to talk about, but I think we should push that to the next, next week. The second challenge for me is the fact that we have laws that were probably made without consideration to our cultures. If it's possible, I don't know which lawmakers, I don't know if our people can go vote and beg our lawmakers to change. For me, that's my takeaway. What's your own takeaway from today?
I think today we spoke a lot.
Ciao, le français.
Désolé, on a parlé de beaucoup
Can
de
you give me
choses.
1 second? Let me answer someone. So let me answer that guy. He said Adam and Eve had many children. Only the story of Cain and Abel was important. At the end of the day, all the many children were still their children. So if those many children decided to sleep among themselves, that was probably still incest.
Yeah, moreover, we cannot prove that they had many more children besides Abel and Cain. So that's the two that the history wanted to bring down.
Let's go by his narrative that they had many children. At the end of the day, those many children were still brothers and sisters. So at one point, the brothers and sisters got into each other, and then
that's why we're saying this conversation is kind of tricky. So,
non, ce que je disais, c'est qu'on a parlé de beaucoup de choses aujourd'hui. On a parlé de beaucoup de trucs aujourd'hui sur la société et notre environnement social. Il y a beaucoup de choses qui restent à faire, il y a beaucoup de choses qui ont été faites. Donc, tout ce que je peux dire, c'est de vivre selon la loi, selon ce que la loi dit. Il faut respecter la loi. Il faut déjà que nous, en tant que citoyens camerounais, que nous d'abord on commence à respecter la loi. Parce qu'il faut que les mentalités changent. Parce que quand on ne respecte pas la loi, on veut que les choses changent comment? Comment est-ce que ça doit changer? Parce qu'on ne va pas toujours accuser le gouvernement. On a toujours la force et le peuple d'accuser le gouvernement. Mais quand tu vois un Camerounais qui mange la banane et jette sur la route publique, c'est déjà ne pas respecter la loi, c'est déjà l'incivisme.
Oui, l'incivisme et l'insalubrité.
L'incivisme et la salubrité. Donc, ce que je peux dire aujourd'hui à ceux qui nous regardent, c'est que nous devons marcher selon la loi, respecter la loi, respecter ce que la loi dit. Et je pense que ça va nous empêcher d'avoir beaucoup de problèmes.
Innocent, your takeaway from today.
We have a community, we have a country, we have a society to build. Yeah, we've reached a milestone, it's true, but we still have a lot because we are discovering every day new pattern of life that we didn't know about it. Even when the law mentioned it, they mention it lightly. So what we're trying to say is like those people making our laws, they should maybe hire. That's why they say a community is just we come together to make a community. So you have historian, you have military, you have lawmaker, you have medical doctor, you have kids, you have grandparents. So that's everything that makes a whole. Okay, that makes a community whole. So let this lawmaker reach out to historian, give them even as assignment, please do some research because we want to build a strong society based on our cultural heritage. Okay, and then now we can enact the law that really reflects our heritage, all right, and our society. And what I would say is that we are living in a time where this modernism and our culture, or let's say our tradition, are getting is clashing. We don't know, and this is what is happening. Our kids are lost either to keep our tradition or to move to the modern pattern. So now it is our responsibility as elder or as lawmaker to shape that society, shape those laws, and let's educate our children, all right, accordingly, so that we build this strong society and violence free. We know the violence will never be free, but not this kind of violence we're seeing today, that a man will get mad about his wife, beat her to death, or when an old man of 60 years old, because he's got beaten by a 30-something years old, will go and pick up a long knife to go and kill a 6-year boys. For me, it doesn't add up. That's not the reflection of the society we want for ourselves. So, and then we don't want to live in this society where a father will give birth to a child and take the same child to the sleeping room. This is not we. I don't think. So please, let's build our community. Let's build our community.
When he says this is on me, and then he starts mashing his words, that's because you don't even know if it's the man who is right or if it's us that is right. They have fed us with so much information. You go here, these people are feeding you with this. You go here, these ones are feeding you with this. To the extent that and then you start asking questions, and then you don't even know where we stand as a people. That's the reason why we cannot even move forward. And you never know. It can get crazy if we don't really look for, like he's saying, really like synchronize who we really are with where we want to be tomorrow. Your kid will just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I read one book somewhere, and according to that book, I have to violate my dad." God, we look at it as a joke, but worse things can happen. Worse things can happen. That's the reason why there are communities where they don't even want strangers in. I was watching a video the other time, a documentary. There's this group of people in South Africa, complete white people. They're staying somewhere, they're intermarried among themselves. It's very okay, and they don't want no other person in the community. If you come to that community, they will do everything possible to frustrate you, and you will leave. You can visit, you can go there, do documentary and whatever. They will tell you about their lifestyle. We are this group of people, and we want to keep everything pure. We want to keep everything growing, and only amongst ourselves and only amongst ourselves. Even amongst us, there were tribes who were saying, "Oh, you cannot marry from there." I'll give you guys a simple example that might seem funny. I am Bafo and Oroko. The Bafo part of me is the people from Kumba and Kokobuma. Guess what? At one point in time, we felt like we were going extinct. You will notice that you hear Kumba, but you never hear about the Bafo people as in Bafo, let's say Bamileke as the Douala, because the numbers are not even there. I'm not even sure right now we have up to 5,000 Bafo people around the world. I don't know, I'm not sure. So at some point in time, we were like, oh, maybe we need to start getting married amongst ourselves so we can start producing kids and increase the number. The other question now is, we are getting married amongst ourselves. You turn here, it's your brother. You turn here, it's your sister. You just stretch your hand a little bit, it's your cousin or your nephew. It's just difficult. So are we just going to close our eyes and take our nephews and our this and that? Bro, we'll end the show soon. Next week. Well, but by the way, shout out to Martin Sone. I hope to bring you here because we'll get new Pope. Or we'll want to explain some certain things. So many things, so many questions that I get them. Especially with this Pope now don't come say, hey, that way that other man be talking to my own and say, I want to understand who's I come out and I say that other man be here, got the voice fine.
True Lion, thank you for watching.
Yeah, True Lion me the watch.
Yeah, they watch.
Yeah,
you know I comment be the watch.
Thank everyone who was
Black
following.
Member,
yeah, and that's what we do. I know they're talking only about football. Monday we talk about football. Tuesday, we talk maybe a little bit of politics because we have to. October is coming. We need to start educating our people on why it's important for them to go register. I did ever tell person say, just build a habit, because that was a habit that was supposed to be there, but we destroyed it. You understand? Mm-hmm. So the only way we get back to that place now for build a habit, say I get for vote, you get for register. When you come up for house, you tell people say, hey, I want to go register. It keeps on inside your head. I see the grow every year. You say I want to go register, or every 3 years you say I want to go register. Or you look in there about elections. It start teaching say, hey, na my right, I'm going to go for Duam. But if Pekin grew, and I remember not time they discuss registration for a house. Why you think say why register? So now this generation get for bring back that culture of voting, of holding our leaders accountable, of challenging them, of telling them that hey, why the law for the man in case we key Matisse. It didn't so, and for the other my case, it didn't so. We want the same rules applied across the board.
Yes,
it is very, very possible. Trust me. Now we don't put up our mind say it not be possible. Why it be say that mommy they go match for that gendarmerie right away? Serious thing they start come out say okay, may they take that man go now for Kondingi. You understand? On a fait c'est office de vous that because no, they don't look people they stand for it office back. They say that they ask they say. If we try with the official, we show we get away with them. They know. So now we for really show say we are present, we are interested in these things, and we are not play. Do the right thing. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for you guys, for our viewers. Thank you very much. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Ashley Lauren. Thank you, Black Mamba. True Lion, thank you for watching. And then, like we say, we are stronger together, and let's keep up like this way. See you.